Yeah, welcome back. Beautiful music there by Elvis and Alicia Popper doing a cover for Imagine Dragons' Radioactive. Now we continue with our news review this morning with Senators Hassan Omar from Mombasa, Boni Halwale from Kakamega, Kimani Wamatangi from Kiambu, and the women representative from Meru County, Florence Kajuju. Now, just before the break, of course, we were discussing about the U.S. elections and the arguments therefore and against Donald Trump's presidency. But now we need to come back home and look at any parallels we can draw with elections, because we are already in the election year. And what does it do? We've seen what the kind of condemnation that the media, the U.S. media, is receiving now, and also the kind of criticism that has gone the pollsters are receiving. Now, back home, even the Standard yesterday had already splashed the image of Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States. Yeah. And these are things that we're going to see going forward. So where does that leave us? I'd like to hear it from you, as the media and the pollsters. Let's start with Senator Wamatangi.
Yes, I think, remember, this is not actually a new debate with the pollsters in Kenya. This has always, especially when we get to election time, it's always been an issue. You know, you find that there's been allegations of pollsters being influenced, bought, paid. People sponsor polls themselves that, you know, let's go and poll, talk to so and so and so and so, and then you get polls that misinform. But I think the lesson that we learn from what we've seen in the U.S. is a big lesson, and it's the media really that must learn, because you know, the belief, and take this as credit for the media as far as Donald Trump is concerned. You know what happened? The media hyped so much that Hillary was way ahead, and by that, in default, it made the voters for Trump to come out in huge numbers, because the message was out there: you're losing and she's winning, and it worked in reverse. So all those that were now going to vote for Trump had the the
pollsters were not necessarily wrong.
No, they were wrong, and I think there is room for now the Kenyan landscape to take huge lessons. One, pollsters. You'll remember that during the presidential debate in 2013, it has since come to light that the figures that were given to Uhuru, that he had been the best performer, were actually doctored. Somebody has admitted that. So pollsters should...
Who is this that has admitted?
Oh, you missed it. I thought you are in the media.
Although he went ahead to win.
The second person is the media. The media must learn to remember that their role is not to create news. Their role is to report on news, so that on events, so that the events become news. The third lesson is to us, the candidates, aspirants, and so on. There is a big wind blowing in the whole country, in the whole world. People are now desirous of change. The status quo, you are marked on several fronts. One, like in the US, the voters didn't want dynasties. So any politician in Kenya today who comes from a dynasty, you better look out. And we know their names. I'm not saying I've got anything against them, but Uhuru comes from a dynasty called the Kenyatta dynasty. We've had enough of it.
Raila?
The Moi family, we've had enough of it. The Kibaki family, we have enough of it. Yes, you are referring to Raila.
Yeah, but it's a dynasty.
Poor Odinga never ruled this country. So his dynasty is there positively. But it is a dynasty. It is a dynasty that has got the narrative that they were fighting for the rights of the common mwananchi. So somebody from that kind of dynasty being given a chance would be a welcome thing. And then finally, our women. Our women, I want you to remember that Donald Trump got more Republican women votes than Mitt Romney got. In 2000 and
even despite accusations about the kind of negative comments he made about
exactly. So our women, you have to put your act together, and the best way to do it is forget it stupid things, I saw members of parliament going to the US embassy to go and celebrate the Clinton campaign, I mean the Clinton win. Instead of fighting to get a Clinton win, create your own Clinton in Kenya, like a Juju.
Yes.
And you have them. You have Mother Karua. She has demonstrated. She's good. She has got a strong message on the fight against corruption. She's a woman of integrity. Why are you not celebrating Mother Karua, for example?
Florence Kajuju, of course, where does that leave you as a politician? Are you still going to rely on polls? Because, of course, it informs you when you decide now whether to defend your seat as a women representative or to go for something higher. You have to use some polls.
Personally, I don't believe in polls. I believe in what I do with the people in Meru County. I want to go to the people, speak to them, tell them why I need a re-election. So what the polls say, to me, does not make sense at all. Because I've seen lots of candidates now seeking for votes in the next elections in Kenya. They're really doing the social media. And in the counties, we have what we call battle boys. Young men and women are being paid to conduct polls that favor their candidates. So every aspirant has their own battle boys. To me, that cannot go into my mind and tell me that I'm going to win. What matters is what I do for the people. On the media, we have a lot of freedom. The Constitution gives the media a lot of freedom. But according to me, much as the media has the rights to give information and to seek for information and the access to information, don't forget that you have a responsibility to inform. Don't do what you think people want to be told, but just as Senator Lwale said, tell them the information, and then they will be able to create the news from there. And as for women, the fact that Hillary Clinton did not get the seat does not mean that a woman cannot make it. Even here in Kenya, we have very strong women. We have been fighting for this affirmative action, which most of the members of parliament are refusing to agree with us, but it doesn't stop there. The Mother Karuas of this world, and I believe I can see Senator Lwale has a lot of confidence in me. We are going to make it. We are going to fight for our space. It's not that we... Oh, thank you. I might decide to do that in the near future. But in as far as the issue of dynasties are concerned, even when people voted for President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, they never voted for the dynasty of the Kenyattas. They voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. Raila Odinga was the prime minister of this country. So no one can say that he never ruled this country. It was a coalition government. He had his chance. He never used it so that he could have been elected as a president. So really, he spent, and that is it.
Senator Omar, of course, question is this perceived indictment of the media and the pollsters in the U.S., is it transferable to our situation here?
I think a lot of politicians do rely on it as scientific data, but sometimes it is not a fait accompli. What it says that those opinion polls can even guide your adversaries on what areas to strengthen, because that science is not only available to you. The only poll that is important is the polling day. So it is never won until on that particular polling day.
But it does inform.
So it does inform some trends, because some of the trends are fairly accurate in terms of the fact that people were saying that Hillary was not able to rally the African American to that extent which Obama did. The Latino voters, the women, there were more women who voted for Barack Obama than they did vote for Hillary Clinton. So what they call the Obama coalition did not hold. But I think what happens also, the media must stop this over trumping of people, exaggerate images of people, because the media is also responsible for the Trump candidacy. Because you see, you trump a fool and trump it and trump it and trump it, and then before you realize, you are now having to deal with the situation. So what I liked about Trump is the fact that he represented raw America. So you trump up somebody, and then before you realize, you've created a mountain of then you lead your nations through an excitement, and then into mediocrity. You do that across the board. But the most interesting thing about Trump, which I heard yesterday, it's not the fact that he's a billionaire. In fact, Clinton outspent Trump. by and far. But because Trump was very outrageous in what he said, the media covered it without him having to carry repeated advertisements. So Clinton, so let people not believe that it was the money factor. It was actually the message that resonated with certain constituencies, and that message brought a raw America and a frustration. And I heard Paul Ryan, the speaker, say that 7 in every 10 Americans are dissatisfied with the system. And that's what the polling shows. So if 7 out of every 10, and Clinton was perceived as a pro-establishment candidate, and Trump the anti-establishment candidate, so he had a sympathy vote among the independents. And you have to realize that I'm one person who believes that Clinton rigged her way through the Democratic nominations, that the DNC unfairly, prejudiced a potential Bernie Sanders win.
So we still have a space for pollsters.
In terms of the science, you cannot deny it totally, because it did not say anything that is so fundamental. It's not that Jill Stein, who they polled at 2% through and through, was the one who came and won. Jill Stein was there, but she came up 4th. So it's not that it caused a major upset to the extent where it was the candidate in position 4 who came to position 1. It was actually the rest was always between Trump and Clinton, and I think the outcome was not as outrageous as one will have said. It's not that the underdog came and so suddenly became the dog.
Now I want us to move on away from the U.S. elections and discuss some headlines back home. And of course, yesterday we saw the first batch of KDF troops flying back home from the UN mission in South Sudan. And of course, that is one of the stories that because of the U.S. elections and the corruption